squash and green lentil moussaka.
Yeah, so one of my favourite vegetarian, just happens to be vegetarian things to cook. Don't need to cook this on a fire, but it's nice to get outside, isn't it, I think? Although it was absolutely bitter. Anyway, a squash, about 1 kilo, just diced into, I don't know, 2-3 centimetre chunks, something like that. A whole bulb of garlic. Don't worry, it's not going to be mega garlicky because it will mellow on roasting. Little handful of rosemary there. You could use sage, you could use thyme, you know, any of those woody herbs would work really well. And salt and lots of olive oil. So I think the trick to kind of vegetarian, vegetable cooking, inverted commas, is layering flavours, you know, cooking each step properly to get maximum flavour in there. So I have a half and half kind of fire set up here. At this point I opened the lid and I realised actually it's not actually that hot now, so a bit of leak on top, by the way. Sometimes you just sort of hold your hand up and say, you let the fire go out, because I was making a pie. Anyway, waffling now. That's what happens when I've got more time. So another chimney of charcoal, lit it up, get this fire going. You know, I'm a big fan of adding charcoal lump by lump when you're cooking, if it's really good pure charcoal, which hopefully it is. But sometimes the fire's gone out too much to make that effective and efficient, so it's just better to kind of start again. Anyway, a pan, some green lentils, I guess about 200-ish grams, something like that. The flat green ones, you could use the pui lentils, the little harder browner ones. And chicken stock, could be vegetable stock to make it properly vegetarian, but that's what I had. Oh look, here's the pie. I made a little film for Weber. And that was my leftovers. That was my cook's treat while I was standing out in the cold making moussaka for dinner. Anyway, just biding my time while my charcoal cooked, essentially, by eating something nice. There's my charcoal, all cooked now. Tipped it into the charcoal basket. Just arrange it a little bit, you know. You always get a kind of basket that's a bit sulky. That's just the way it works. So you just sort of twiddle your coals a little bit. So get the veg tray on indirect, get the lentils with the stock direct, and then foil. If you had a lid, put it on. I didn't have a lid. And I'm just sort of watching that temperature, you know, I'm not too bothered, 180, 200-ish, and let it roast. So that was probably half an hour. You can see the veg are getting there, but not there yet. Meanwhile, the lentils look pretty good to me. So they've absorbed most of the stock, but not all of it, which is what I wanted. So I've moved the veg over a direct heat, and I put the lentils in at some point, but I think I forgot to film that bit. But you know, you tip the lentils with the liquid that's left, you just tip it in, get it over a higher heat now. That's going to add some caramelisation. And again, building layers of flavour. I slid it off the heat then because I didn't want it to burn. Another pan on. And a generous knob of butter, I guess 50 grams. On reflection, looking at that picture, cutting butter with my big, sharp Fingal Ferguson knife when my hands were cold was really stupid. Don't do that at home. The garlic I squidged out of the cloves, mashed it to a paste, get it onto the veg and the lentils, just stir it in. I mean, this is really rich in flavour now, lots of different things going on there. You can mix it up though. Sometimes I put a bit of smoked paprika in. The butter had melted over a high direct heat. Oh look, sauce whisk, one of my favourite little bits of kit. It makes such a difference if you're making a bechamel. Flour. So the rule is equal quantities fat to flour. So 50-ish grams of butter, 50-ish grams of flour. I very rarely weigh stuff because I just kind of cook by eye these days, which is not necessarily that helpful to you if you're not so experienced at cooking. Anyway, I'm sorry. This is why I'm explaining it. 500ml of milk-ish. Whisk it up. Give it a little whisk around. The beauty of a sauce whisk is you can get right into the corners and right to the bottom, and it just makes life much, much easier. Pepper. Can you see the coals underneath the pan, how red hot and glowy they've got? That's because, lid up, all that oxygen is really whooshing that charcoal up. I put a couple of bay leaves in there as well, just to add another layer of flavour. And I guess I cooked the sauce for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, just sort of whisking it fairly often so it didn't get lumpy, but trying to keep the lid down as well. Meanwhile, grated a whole load of parmesan. I don't know, I didn't measure it. It was, let's call it 150 grams. Plenty of parmesan. You know, if you're having a cheese sauce, you want a cheese sauce, don't you? No half measures here. Can you see that sauce now is thickening? For sure, it's definitely getting there. And meanwhile, you can also see the charcoal's starting to get hotter because the lid's open. But I can see, you see all that ash over the charcoal now? That tells me the charcoal is kind of on its way out. Another reason that we never, with good pure charcoal, wait until, inverted commas, our charcoal is white and ashy, because you're wasting all of that energy in there. You don't need to do that. Cheese in. And then give it a mix up. Trying to remember that the lid of the saucepan, the handle, sorry, of the saucepan is hot, so I don't burn myself. Just get that sauce, cheese, amazingness. I could just eat that off a spoon. Put that to one side. And the veg now are really kind of deep in flavour and smelling amazing. So get them off. Right, look at the fire. Still enough glow in there. I am confident I can add some lumps of charcoal. They're going to catch. The fire's going to keep cooking, so I didn't need a new chimney at this. I'm using a reasonable amount of fuel here because, do you know what? It's because I keep lifting the lid, and that's meaning that the fuel is burning off quicker. So the more you can keep the lid down, the less oxygen you introduce, the longer your fuel will burn. This is why a lid is really, really important. I split my charcoal baskets there, so one either side. So you can guess what I'm going to do. The moussaka is going to go in between them, creating a hot oven, essentially. Anyway, back to the sauce. Eggs. That's what creates the kind of texture of a sauce on a moussaka, is like it's a bit moussey. I don't know if that's why they called it a moussaka. I don't know. Anyway, any Greek friends out there, give me a shout. They'd be horrified at my inauthentic moussaka, wouldn't they? 3 eggs in the sauce. Give it a really good mix up, just to combine them. I guess my sauce whisk would have been useful here, but I had already discarded it into my dirty pile. Mix, 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 and then that just goes on top of the vegetables. Thorough mixing, I can see I'm doing a very good job there. Just pour that over. Yum. I'm making myself hungry just watching this. And I want to get every single little bit of that out. So we've got a metal tin here. It's just one of those Falcon enamel tins, cheap as chips, totally battered. Put it on my fire all the time. One of my favourite little bits of kit. Yeah, they get a little bit warped, but they tend to straighten back out once they've cooled down, and you know, not to worry, eh? There she blows. So in between the two fires there, I think the perspective is a bit out on the camera because it doesn't look like it was, but it was in between the two fires. And then I just baked it, I guess, 30-40 minutes.
Squash and green lentil moussaka.